As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be
Oh
a
man,
home
it's
run.
8 o'clock.
And so that'll make it a...
I don't need the spotlight. I shine just fine.
Hi, I'm Karma, and yes, I am a bitch.
Brav Bros. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brav Bros, your favorite podcast from the bros for everybody, for whoever wants to listen. I am your co-host, Steele Russell, joined remotely by the one and only Scoots Magoots. What's up, dude?
Really excited to have OC back in our lives. Boy, let me tell you.
Me too, and I never thought I would say that. And you know, that's what Bravo does. It keeps you guessing. You think you know, and then you have a whole run of bad housewife shows, and you're clamoring to have OC back on your screen. Who'd have thunk?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, ever since that trailer dropped, whenever it dropped, a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, it looked good. And how many times have we been teased by a trailer? Pretty much every time.
Too many.
Too many. So certainly not getting my hopes up, but it feels nice. It feels familiar that we're back in the housewife game, and it's not New Jersey.
Agreed. It's nice to have our bread and butter back, if you will, and that's been kind of the issue for a lot of these shows, and our housewives shows have not been up to par for a lot of them. So I was excited after the trailer. I'm very excited after watching this. There's a lot here. There's a lot of places it can go wrong if they latch on to certain things for too long, which I am afraid that's going to be the thing. But there is a chance here. Everyone is firing on all cylinders. I'll say that. Like, everyone's ready for this season. I could tell that out of the gate. Like, they're bringing it. So like, I appreciate that. I'm just cautiously optimistic, as we like to say around these parts, because like I said, there's a couple things that I noticed. I'm like, oof, if we latch onto this, it's going to get old. But for the most part, great first episode for the season. I'm excited that it's back. Excited that we have good housewives back.
Yeah, no, I would fully agree with that, because last season where OC faltered was way too much Tamra and not enough of anybody else. And Shannon, look, I think Shannon is consistent. I think Shannon's going to do what Shannon does. She almost seems like she's oblivious to the cameras. She's just kind of like wandering around and doing her normal things. I would argue that she is very realistic as a person, whereas a lot of people are not on these shows. And last year we didn't get a lot from Emily. Gina kind of shut down, and obviously we're finding out a little bit more about her and Travis. So maybe that's why she kind of shut down last season. Emily had a full transformation in the offseason that she goes into pretty quickly in this episode. So hopefully that's enough momentum to get them involved in everything, because I don't want it to just end up being Tamra. Obviously, Jen got involved, and we're going to get a little bit of Ryan later in the season. I'm not going to get my hopes up that it's going to come soon, because it seems like they picked up cameras a little bit late on that one. But it looks like everybody's involved, and that's really all we can ask for these shows.
Yeah, and I think that Gina gave more this episode than she did the entire season last year.
Yeah.
She was letting us into what's going on in her life. She was mixing it up with some of the other cast. It was a different Gina than
We actually saw Travis.
We got to see Travis. It looks like he's on his way out, but we did get to see him briefly. So yeah, a lot to look forward to. It was like I said, solid first ep. Let's get into it right away. Quick order of business. For those of you that don't know, I'm in a 28 and over men's league all-star game tomorrow night. So just had to get that one out there before we started.
Quick order of business. Yeah.
Just to let you know, I still got it.
Bit of an all-star.
No. Yeah, hey, now I'm an all-star. But no, the Brav Bros members, if you haven't joined yet, click that link in our Instagram bio. Join the craze. We had our community Zoom, our second one last night. It went very well. We had a blast. So if you are interested in that, click the link in our bio or the bottom of this episode description. $5 for the month, $50 for the year. Now let's OC it up. What do you say?
Hell yeah. Whoop it up, if you will.
Whoop it. Oh, not yet. She's not here yet.
Yeah, she better be in like the bulk of this season. If we only get like 1 or 2 episodes of Vicky, I'm gonna riot. Me personally, I'm just gonna show up with a sign, and it's just gonna be Vicky's face and a little question mark next to it.
I'll join you, and I'll have a sign that says, "I'm here to whoop it up and whoop some ass."
I love it.
Yeah, That's
Yeah.
what I'm bringing to the table. But let's jump right in, and we start out with a heavy topic. We get the recap, the rerun through of Shannon's DUI. As we know, that was massive news. It was all over all social media. It was everywhere. And look, take the reality TV out of it. It was a serious thing. It's a scary thing. We see the pictures of her in the aftermath, like her whole face is bloodied up. It could have been so much worse. You know, that's a weird thing to say about a DUI, but it really could have. Like somebody could have died. So recapping it, starting the season off like that, it was just a staunch reminder of how serious it was, I guess. And it kind of sets the stage for what this season might be. And that's where I'm a little hesitant because I don't think that Bravo as a whole does a great job covering things like this when it comes to
Yeah.
alcoholism, sobriety, whatever it is. So I hope that they take the correct route here. I hope that the rest of the cast, and by the rest of the cast, I pretty much mean Tamra and Alexis, Jesus Christ, when we get to her. But I hope that they are able to understand the nuances of it. I think that's wishful thinking, but hey, that's just me.
I know there's zero chance. And honestly, when this episode started off, and obviously getting into the first scene when Tamara starts talking about it, I'm thinking about how this is going to go. And I want to say, I think that from our perspective, like, yeah, we're gonna give a little bit of grace here and there, whatever. But they're talking about who she is as a person and not removing the whole alcohol of it all, of course. So that's gonna be problematic pretty much the entire time. So I like when you say Bravo as a whole does a really bad job at covering this sort of thing, or at least kind of treading carefully. It would include the castmates as well,
Yes, yeah,
because the way that they comment on it, like they're unable to remove a person from a situation, and
correct.
that's really tough because you're on camera now, and you're very obviously it's very apparent how you feel about that person, but you need to put those things aside. So I feel like we're going to get a lot of that this season. We're going to try to not drone on too long about that because Tamara doesn't deserve us to drone on too long about her antics. I don't want to give her more airtime than she deserves, even when it's us bashing her for being a terrible person.
Yeah, which I have a feeling we'll do a lot of that this
Yeah.
season. But we get to a scene with Tamra and Jen. Jen moved on quick, huh? We're good now.
Yeah, we're friends. We're
We're
friends.
fine. Yeah, she was a total asshole to me all season last year. She brought me on the show to tear me down. But hey, I know who she is now, and we're fine. Things are fine. She's right
I'm
back
just
in the
not going to
fold.
tell her my secrets. I'm going to keep those to myself.
She's full of shit. She's gonna tell her, the minute she has a secret, she's gonna go to Tamra first. And look, this is it's actually kind of refreshing that this is a moment where I'm like, oh, Housewives is back because like, this is such a moment where it's like you should still be mad at her. There was
Yeah.
enough last year to still be mad at Tamra, but you're not because you either want to hang out with the cool kids or you just wanted to get over it. Either way, it felt like a real Housewives moment. So that's when I felt weirdly warm and
Cozy.
fuzzy. Yeah, a
Yeah, a
little
little cozy.
cozy. We're back. I was like, oh, we're back, baby. It's like we never left. But they're all getting together to do a little workout. Her, Tamara, Jen, and Emily. Emily looks phenomenal.
Yeah, she looks
And
great.
I love that she's open about her journey through it because she said, look, I did a little Ozempic, little liposuction, and a ton of working out. There's nothing wrong with that. As a personal trainer, there is nothing wrong with that. If you're open and honest about your journey, you need a little help to get jump started, but you're putting the work in the gym, nobody should have a fucking word to say about it. And I love that she is using her platform to be honest because there's
Yeah.
so many people on these streets that are not being honest.
No,
People that I
definitely not.
know, like I just lost a bunch of weight. It's like, really? Because
Did
you
you?
have Ozempic, you have Ozempic face.
Yeah.
Oh,
Little Zemp.
little
Little
Zemp,
Zempy.
you got the Zemp cheeks going on. So I don't believe you. But no, I really appreciate that. But you get this juxtaposed scene, her and Shannon. Shannon's with her daughters and talking about being an empty nester. You know, she moved, and I love these. I love this. It's similar to instead of saying I got fired, I got put on pause. She's in a condo now because she didn't need the space.
Yeah.
Not,
Uh-huh.
not that I can't afford it. I just didn't need the space.
Well, it's funny because as soon as she says, yeah, I'm in a condo now because I didn't need the space, she looks over at her daughters and says, how about we go sit over on the couches to eat our dinner? Because I don't
Yeah.
have room for 4 people here. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. I get it.
So you kind of need the space.
Yeah,
The,
you
the
might.
girls are
Just,
that
here and there.
that made me laugh a lot. But This is going to be an interesting breakdown for this season when it comes again to the alcohol thing, because she's going to make it harder on herself with the way that she's approaching things, because she's talking about taking accountability, owning up to what she did, which for all intents and purposes she is.
Yeah.
The hard part to justify it, and that's where she's going to leave the door open to insults and people being belittling about it. She's still drinking.
Yeah.
So for me, even it's hard to defend things when you're hearing the tropes. Like I got yelled at in comments for saying trope too much, so I got to find a new word for that. But
Okay.
I'll work
Hit up
on
that thesaurus. Yeah. Yeah. Open the old thesaurus.
it. That was a struggle to get that one out. The Thor.
Yeah, that one sucked.
Today, Junior, but it's tougher to defend them being an asshole to her about it when she's not actively doing everything that she can, and hearing certain phrases such as, oh, it's just 2 drinks, I don't do it a lot, it was a bad night, all of those things. To me, that is 100% trying to rationalize the behavior rather than address the behavior. And until she addresses the behavior full on, it's hard to defend when other people are going to come after her for the drinking, because you know what, you got a DUI and you're still boozing.
Yeah, and it's 1,000% not a standalone incident. We
No.
have watched you on TV. We know that you have a bit of a drinking problem. So this is not these are all connected, and it all goes
Right.
back to you drinking. So don't do that, because I agree with you. I feel like she is saying the right things and taking ownership, talking to her daughters, when she's talking to Alexis a little bit later, when she's talking to Gina, like all of the things that she's saying, she's doing the right things there, but it's
Mhm.
when nobody's looking. That's the problem. And you
Right.
hear little rumors that she's walking around with a shopping cart full of booze, that she's spilling a little bit of vodka in her Diet Coke here and there when nobody's looking. Those are problems, because now it's okay. Yeah, I don't trust you guys with the truth that I'm drinking. So then you do know that there's a problem there, but you're not
Right.
acknowledging it. So it diminishes all the hard work that you say you're doing, and that you are, for better or worse, it looks like you are doing the hard work on that front.
Yeah.
You're just not doing all of it, so it diminishes the whole thing. So it's a really tough situation that she's in.
It's perfectly said. Honestly, that's exactly what it is. She is putting work in, and you can tell she looks great. She is taking accountability where she can, but without fully diving in, it leaves the door open to
Mhm.
diminish what she's doing. And it's not even leaving it open for other people to diminish it. She herself is diminishing the work by not being all in on it. And you see that personified when Jen, Emily, and Tamra are talking, and they're talking about Shannon, and that, she went to a wellness spot for a month, but a wellness spot's not rehab. It's different
Nope.
than rehab. Tamra goes into the Trace Amigas breaking up, and I love that she's taking this holier than thou approach now, where she's like, oh, well, I was concerned about her drinking. I didn't want her on the tour. It's like, no, you fucking didn't.
Didn't she come out and say that she wanted her on the tour? We
Yes,
bashed her last year
we
because they were
crushed her.
still doing it. We absolutely crushed her last year because they were still doing the tour, and she said, "We're gonna dial it back with our drinking, but Shannon's not gonna drink." Like, okay, that's, if you're gonna stick to that, then whatever. We're still gonna rip you apart for that. But now, after doing all of that, you're coming on the show and saying that you didn't feel comfortable with her. Like, no, that's just not true.
It's simply untrue. And we got our
Yeah.
first Tamra lie of the season within the first 5 minutes of the episode.
God.
And she's going to backpedal and spin it and say, I didn't say that. And we have camera footage of it from last year and like that whole tour getting put together. I remember you and I discussing it because I was
Yeah.
actually upset. I was like, this is nuts.
Yeah. It was
How
insane.
yeah, you're not good friends and you don't give a shit about her. You care about this stupid tour, and then now you're gonna play like you were the person that knew better. Get the fuck out of here. You guys had a falling out and the thing fell apart. It's not because you wanted to be the voice of reason and say, hey, you can't go on this trip. But I think despite, our feelings about Tamra, I don't think she's going to be the biggest villain this season because John fucking Jansen is the worst. He's the worst. He is worse than Ryan. He's worse than any douchebag boyfriend that we've seen. Not obviously the mainstays. We don't have to go into like the Scandival and like Jax.
No, no.
But as far as like the other boyfriend that you don't see as much, he's the fucking worst, dude. Who is this guy? Like, who the fuck does he think he is? Because Shannon's talking about like the John update. He texts her and says, I'm cutting all ties. You've ruined my life. You've ruined my family's life with this public eye bullshit. And then you date Alexis? What do you mean? That's the most ridiculous argument ever.
No, he's fucking insane. He's just trying to claw his way back into being on the show in some way, which I don't understand because he's not getting paid. So what is he trying to get out of this? Like
He
I
wants
just never
clout.
understand what he's doing. He just yeah, I guess he wants clout, but look, maybe he got that. Maybe that's what he was trying to do the whole time. He's trying to be with Shannon for a little while, and then he breaks up with her for all the shit that's going on. It was terrible last year. So then he goes and quote unquote upgrades to Alexis because she knows who he is.
Like, dude,
I
the
don't know.
whole
Maybe.
thing. And the best way to say it is later on. I think Gina says it like, John's a piece of shit. And now
Yeah.
these two are arguing about it. And he's the funniest part of this whole thing is this makes, because these two women are potentially fighting over him. I really don't think Shannon is fighting over that. I think that's part of it. I think there's a lot more there than what Alexis is trying to lean into. Like, you're just mad I took your boyfriend. I'm like, I really don't think that's it. I think that's
No.
slightly part of it, but it's more the disrespect factor, not so much the fact that you took this big piece of shit.
Yep.
But it makes this guy probably think that he's hot shit. And this guy's the biggest douchebag loser. We watched him with Shannon when they were dating, and we said, what's this guy's fucking problem? He doesn't want to talk to anybody. He's weird about his kids. He's weird about his life. He's weird about sharing anything. He talks all kinds of shit to Shannon while they're dating. Like, he is arguably one of the bigger pieces of shit on any of these shows, and he loves it. He loves being in the limelight. He loves taking pictures with Alexis. He loves being on Instagram, acting like he's a fucking celebrity,
Yep.
when in reality, he's a big fat bag of douche. And I wish that he would trip
Ew.
off of the OC, whatever, cliff, and
Cliff.
not die. The OC cliff, and just, like, scratch his knee or something. That's the thing, right? The
Yeah.
OC cliff. I've
The
seen it
old
in the
knee.
previews.
You got to wish for the old knee, boo boo. Maybe a
Just a knee
stub
boo
toe.
boo, a
Yeah.
stub toe whilst falling down the OC cliff. That's what I wish on John Jansen, because this guy doesn't deserve the screen time, doesn't deserve the airtime. I hate the fact that he's been talked to. I hate the fact that I've sat here for 2 minutes straight talking about this man.
Yeah. He might have a big dick though.
Big old dick.
Big old dick John Jansen.
Yeah, and he is a big old dick. And by the way, as Gina says, I don't even care. I don't even care that he's got a big penis. Get the fuck out of here, buddy. We don't care. God damn it. And moving on from that a little bit, this is where it's going to get old. Like you said, being able to take the person out of it. Tamra says that John is karma. John getting with Alexis is karma for not getting her life together. It's
Yeah.
like, bro,
No.
don't throw shots like that, because that
Absolutely
carries
not.
way more weight.
Yeah, no, I can't. I mean, I can believe that she's going to take this position. She's standing up against Shannon. I don't know what the fuck Shannon did to her in the offseason. I don't know if we'll ever really find out. But for whatever reason, they had a huge falling out, and Tamara's taking a staunch stance against Shannon, and she's going to throw her under the bus and she's going to rip her apart. This is what she did to Jen last year. She brought Jen onto the show just to throw her under the bus. She found a new victim this year. Let me throw her under the bus, and now I have a storyline.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's going to pick on somebody, and Shannon's easy pickings because of what happened, because of the DUI. I wish so much that they would take a different approach with it. This is going to be what I was talking about in the intro. If this is the focal point of the season, is Shannon and the DUI, that will wear thin, especially with me. And I know that, obviously I take it a little bit more personally, but
Yeah.
it's just simply not worth hammering home for more than 2 or 3 episodes. Get through
No,
it.
I agree with that, and I'm ready and prepared for more of Alexis versus Shannon with John in the middle because that's really funny.
That
It's
is funny.
very funny.
Yes,
Knowing
I'll
that it's
fuck with
John
that.
Jansen that we're fighting over here, that's incredibly funny to me. So yeah, I obviously we knew that we were going to have to talk about the DUI. I agree with you. I don't want it to go past, the second, third episode. Of course, we're going to get a Tamra line in like the 7th or 8th or on a trip or whatever, where she just takes a shot at Shannon for the DUI. Like she'll never be able to outlive it. There's
And
nothing
I
that she
can
can
I
really do.
can roll with that if it's, few and
Yes.
far between.
Just not every single time that Shannon's on the screen or every single time that she's in an argument. You can't throw it at her because it's the low hanging fruit. Just get a little more creative. I will be okay if it's this weird love triangle the entire season because that's
Agreed.
funny. I'm into
Okay.
that.
I agree 100%. And I think it's only because, once again, well, it's a two-parter. The first part being that it's John Jansen of all people. This is not
Yep.
Brad Pitt. This is he looks like, you know, nothing wrong with it, but he looks like he sells insurance and, maybe owns a boat that he likes to go crabbing on. Like that's what I think of when I think of John Jansen. And he's a big like getting the guys together for some beers on the boat later and we're
No, I
avoiding
don't
our
even think
wives.
he doesn't even like hanging out with the guys. That's the
No,
problem.
I'm this is just the vibe I'm getting.
Oh,
Like
okay.
when you
All right.
see
Yeah.
him, that's what he puts out. I know
Yeah.
he's weird. He's a fucking weirdo. He doesn't want to talk to anybody, especially Shannon when they were dating. But regardless, I could talk about him for a long time.
We
That
might have to all season.
I know, but that is very funny. But the funniest part of it all, the second part, Alexis seems to think that she landed Brad Pitt with this guy.
I know.
Like,
The vibes were just off the charts. By the way, Shannon doesn't own that place. I've been going there for years.
oh,
Okay.
the quiet lady
Shut
or whatever. What is
up.
it?
Like I don't want to jump to that point, but it's just like everything that she says about him, the way that it makes no sense. The way that they encountered each other, he sat in my booth
Who
and
sits in someone else's booth? What a
no
weird
idea.
move.
It's just a weird move, and he must have known who she was. He probably knew
Obviously.
her because he knows housewives. He wants to be in their business. So yeah, he sat down in her booth and started talking. I bet you they started just talking shit about Shannon. He was talking about how much he hates her. She was, I guess, receiving that a little bit, and then it was just all fireworks from there, baby.
There after night 2, we both knew. Then go somewhere else and know together somewhere else. Like, I mean, I'm thrilled we get to watch this disaster unfold, don't get
Yeah,
me wrong, but no to both of you. You both saw this as an opportunity. Maybe there's sparks there, maybe there's not. I could give a shit, but they both saw an opportunity here and they both took it. The funniest one being John Jansen after sending a text, "You ruined mine and my family's life by being in the public eye. Go fuck yourself. I need to get back in the public eye ASAP. Oh, there's Alexis Polito in
3
a
weeks
booth.
later. Yeah, 3
I'm gonna
weeks
pop
later.
a squat. This is me and Shannon's spot, and there's Alexis. This is
Oh my
made
god.
in heaven. Let me just pull up in this booth. Just scoot over a little bit. And you just
I
scooch
also
boots a
I
little
just
bit.
I don't believe the story. I bet you they started talking online. They probably just
Oh
started
yeah,
talking
he
on
slid.
Instagram.
He definitely
Hey,
slid.
I could actually see I think that she probably slid, to
You
be
think she
honest.
slid?
I think she slid,
Oh.
yeah, because she wants to maybe she's doing it for a storyline. She already knew that she was coming back to the show. So she said, "This is a good opportunity for me. Let me just slide in here. Maybe I can start a little romance in here." And then it actually turned into something. She's like, "Wow, this is really good. And I'm going to make this my entire storyline the entire season." I could see that happening.
I think that that's gonna be her biggest pitfall, and it's gonna be entertaining, is that this is it. It's fuck
Yeah,
Shannon all season. You're just jealous. You're jealous of me and John, and it's never gonna be anything more than that.
that would be
I'm cool
funny.
with that.
I'm
I'm
fine with
cool
that.
with that. Yeah, same. But we move on from there. We get to check in with the more and more I see Heather Dubrow on my screen, the more and more I enjoy Heather Dubrow on my screen. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I
I don't
fully
know.
understand it. I love her.
There's something comforting. It's just
Uh-huh.
like this is
And
Housewives.
Terry, throw in Terry. I love Terry. Why
Terry's
not?
delightful. Yeah, like they have their
This is housewives. Let's talk about our houses. Let's talk about the apartment that we still own. Let's talk about
whoa,
renovating
whoa,
it for
whoa, whoa, whoa. It is a
uh,
penthouse, sir.
I apologize to
Thank you.
everybody out
It's a
there.
penthouse.
To the
Okay,
small
thank you.
folk out
Carry
there.
on.
Um No, but like I want to talk about how this mansion was going for $40 million and you have 8.9 acres of land out there and you realize that you got it for 16. Not sure how that happened, but it worked out pretty well. And now you've got all this extra money to renovate the entire house and you can go, "Hey, you see that stairwell that wraps around this side? Can we have it wrap around on the other side?" Like
It's
why?
wild.
What's the
I
point
don't
in
know.
that? I love that. That's great.
I do too. I love those kinds of housewives renovations where it's simply because I want it over there. It's
Yeah.
gonna cost me 50 grand to move this staircase. Do it
Yeah.
tomorrow. Like, do it yesterday. Why is it not moved already? And I love as they're going through, it starts out like you said, all right, keep the running tab. It's at 18 mil. How
Yep.
much is this going to cost? Oh, the fucking guy literally says the movie theater alone is $1 million. His actual sentence was, oh, it's only a million.
Yep.
Only a million.
Yeah, I love
Love it.
and the response from, Terry was walking outside and he said, "How much do you think for landscaping?" Like, 500,000? No, it's actually gonna be about like 2 or 3, probably in that ballpark. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, what are we doing for lunch later,
That's
Heather?
great.
Like,
That's what this is all about.
It's so good, dude. But they do start talking about, looking forward to this season. Not that they're looking forward to it, but the outlook of the season, if you will. And we watched Heather get ganged up on a lot last year. And sure, she has her moments where she comes off a little snide, a little short, a little better than. We've seen it, and it's okay. She seems she's not self-aware in that department. I can't
Nope,
give her that one because
not
she
even
always says
remotely.
like, yeah, no, can't give her that. But I will say overall, like once you understand that about Heather, she's not all bad. Like it's just you
No.
have to take the good with the bad. Like she's going to say some pretentious shit. You're going to go to a pretentious party. It is what it is. But what we saw last year was she was getting ganged up for everything. Like stuff that she was not being rude, not being any of those things. Like she was being kind and normal, and they were all going after her. So going into this season, she's going to definitely be a little bit more on guard. Even Terry recognizes it. So I'm curious what her approach is going to be with the ladies this season. Do you think that she's going to maybe attach herself to Alexis? Alexis is a friend of hers, as we know. Is that going to be her ally and she's going to kind of keep everyone else at an arm's length? Or is she going to just do her own thing? Like, what do you see for her path this season?
So I'll start with what I want her to do, and what I want her to do is big dick it. I just want her to
Oh,
swing a
yeah.
big dick the entire time,
That big old
and
John Jansen dong.
just look at everybody else, look down on everybody else because they're all down there playing in the mud, and you're not. You've got this beautiful new house. Just talk about that the whole time, and look down on everybody and have those snarky remarks because that's funny to me, and we need somebody like that on the show. She probably won't do that. I would bet she's going to try to be that middle person that can talk to everybody and can. We even see her. She FaceTimes with Shannon to tell her about the party. I figured I had to give you a call because Alexis is coming. Whatever. She's friends with Alexis. I think she's going to play that middleman for as long as she possibly can. And then people are going to take shots here and there. It's just going to
Yeah.
matter of how she actually reacts to them. But I don't think she's going to actively go against somebody or call somebody out for anything.
I think that's probably the right prediction and also the correct approach from her. You should at this point. If everyone wants to throw stones at you last year and try to start shit when there wasn't shit to be started, then do what they're saying you're doing. Invite them over to your mansion every day.
Mm-hmm.
When you're renovating, when you're putting in the $1 million movie theater, bring them over and have them sit in the theater. Like
Little movie
just
night.
be petty as shit. That would be
Yeah.
hysterical because they all deserve it, honestly. But we move on from there. We get Gina and Emily, and Emily's renovating the kitchen. This is another thing, and this is where maybe it started to feel more housewifey. And I even wrote it down. I was like, I love that we're doing reno everywhere. I love
Oh
that we're
yeah.
updating houses. I love that we got that. It's that high end feeling again. Like it's the high
Yeah.
end, the peek behind the
Except
curtain.
except for poor Jen over there who can't afford her rent and she's getting evicted and she has to move in with Ryan. So we've got
We're-
both ends of the spectrum here.
we do.
We've got millions and millions of dollars in renovations and beautiful homes and redoing kitchens. And then we've got, well, I haven't been able to make rent for a couple of months and I make $50 a class. It's like, gee, what the fuck? Are we watching the same
Oof.
show right now?
Yeah, why are you here? You need to go take care of your shit.
Whose friend are you? Get out of here.
She's probably so happy the season started, so she gets a paycheck again.
Yeah,
She's like, "Oh my god, I could pay my fucking rent," which is sad. I'm not. I like Jen.
I
I
know, but
like Jen. So, but
it's
it
just,
is
yeah.
the opposite ends of the spectrum are going from what's our running tab? 32 mil. Okay, great. Jen owes rent for the month and can't afford it. Like that's the levels that we're dealing with this season, which again, sad but funny.
Yeah. Hey, Heather, instead of flipping the staircases, you could give that money to Jen and she'll have a home for the next year.
It's fucked up.
God, I know.
But they start talking about obviously they touch on Shannon a little bit, and Gina is allowed to have a different approach to it because of all the shit Shannon gave her about her DUI, about
For
coming to her
sure.
defense, saving her and saving her kids from CPS. Like Gina's the only one that's allowed to have a chip on her shoulder for
Yep.
this because it wasn't personal to anybody else. Gina, fine, I get that. But that's the best part about Gina. She's not trying to take shots. She's just like the irony is pretty palpable. Like
Yeah.
that's the extent of what she says pretty much because at the same time, she's been through it. So she's not going to sit there and try to, kick her while she's down. She's going to get a couple of licks in and say, yeah, fuck you for everything you said about me, but I feel for you. That's the correct approach. And that's why, between that and then immediately jumping into Travis and Gina, like that discussion, her being able to talk about what's going on there, Matt and Gina, I guess, are doing a great job co-parenting. Meanwhile, Travis's ex sounds like she is verbatim doing everything in her power and dedicated to making him miserable, is what she said. That's what it was. Dedicated to making him miserable. And his baggage is simply too much. So this is interesting because last year, a lot of people talked to, what are you giggling about?
I was just laughing at I think in this scene Gina says, we need to get a bigger house. We need a house that can fit all of us. And then she follows it up by saying, we've got the kids. And then I feel like I'm living with Travis's baggage. So are you getting a bigger place because of the baggage? You need
Because of
more room for the baggage? And then you put that against Shannon, who downsized, who probably still needs a bigger place. But she's like, no, I only need a smaller space. And Shannon has a lot of baggage. You might need a bigger space for all that baggage.
I wonder, wow, the baggage is manifesting itself into their homes now. That's not good. That's not good. You got to deal with that baggage.
Put it in Heather's house. She's got plenty of room. Just throw all your baggage over there and go home.
Yeah, give Heather your baggage. But as she's talking about this scenario or this situation that her and Travis are in at the moment, they look at a bigger. I'm confused at the route they took, honestly, because they look for a bigger home together because they've created this modern family between the two of them and their kids, which is amazing. But they look for a bigger home, realize they can't afford a bigger home together. So let's split and get separate homes.
It doesn't make any sense. Obviously, there's more there. I think that the ex is driving a wedge and Travis is allowing it, and now she's having those thoughts about separating. I don't think that this is not a financial decision whatsoever. I don't care how she spins it. A financial decision would be, maybe we can afford a bigger place if we just try to figure it out and we start looking, which I think she does try to do. But in this conversation, it seems like she's already letting that thought slip into her head, where maybe if this continues the way that it's going, I won't be able to move forward with Travis, because they're not married anyway. So
they're not. Maybe it's maybe that's it. Maybe it's that seed was planted in her head, and now it's just, yep, we just got to try this because it's deeper than that. And she does let on finally that it is deeper. She goes, I think I'm outgrowing Travis. That's the real root of it. That's what's going on here. And that's okay. And yeah, it's really hard. And obviously there's kids involved. I do trust, especially after seeing these two talk later, that they will do this in the most mature way possible. It doesn't seem like they're being willy-nilly about it. They're still having discussions. They're making sure it's the right thing. It's going to be difficult. They're both aware of that, but they're being adults about it. So you can't ask for more than that. As she says, it's one of those things it's not the fun decision. And a lot of times these decisions, like the important ones for the parents in it, are not fun, but it's the right thing to do. So I appreciate that they're taking a pragmatic approach to it. Still confused about the details. And I'm curious.
Okay, though, because we're getting, as you said before, we're getting more out of Gina this episode than we got all of last season.
Agreed.
Just based off of this. So if this is how she wants to start opening up to us, the audience who deserves to listen to her inner struggles, then yeah, go ahead. Try to do it.
Jesus.